Dum, dum, dum. Oh, what's that behind me? Yes. Better. Temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. What is that in Fahrenheit? 56. Cool. Not super cold, but cool. So, behind me, it's a clue. Get excited over little things. What's happening over the other side? I'm going to turn this camera around. There we go. The chicken. Yes, so we got this door today. I'm rather chuffed. I'll show you all shortly. So good morning to Mr. Chicken. It's cool but not cold. 56 degrees Fahrenheit. 13 degrees Celsius. It's probably warm for some people. It's cool for us. Hear the boss coming. She's coming through the house. Listen carefully. Thump, 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 thump. Now she's stopped. What's she doing? Dum, 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 dum. Aha! There she is. She'll probably go back. Probably come this way again. Then go back. Evening. Oh. Cool, but not cold.
Yeah, it is Pickle. Who are you talking to?
No one, I think. So, I'll just turn it around to me.
Was that?
Yes, it was on you. In all your glory. The stand is so cool. The little stick stand. She's out in the paddock. You may not be able to see her. You might. She's chucking food for the magpies in the morning.
Oh, damn hot. I just landed in it. Fuck.
You right?
Yeah. Didn't know I put a rock in there. It, oh, it looked like a ghost.
Ooh, the Night Stalker.
Hello. Hello. Hang on.
There we go. The hooded beast from the deep.
That looks scary.
Crazy as a bat.
What one used to say? Chuck it over the fence.
Actually, the wife saved a little magpie. We've got a new fence down the back, but there's an old little one that the neighbours can't afford to put a fence up, so they've kept a little bit of fence. So there's a bit of a gap between the fences, and the magpie, a little baby one, got caught down there. We were watching this thing go backwards and forwards. We thought it was a rat or a mouse.
And then I worked out.
And then she got a shovel and just dug it out a little bit, and then it came out. And now it wants to be with us, but then because it's not part of the magpie group here. So I was out here about 6 o'clock this morning, and it come up just looking at me. And then about 6 other magpies swooped down and started attacking it. It actually went through here, came through here, and they bolted out. So magpies are very territorial. And this poor little baby magpie is obviously not in a group of magpies, so he's a loner. What if he's got a garage or a B-class van he can live in?
That.
Sometimes,
It's too late.
sometimes it's just too easy. Anyway, I don't know who's watching, but I'm going to show them the door.
That sounds so nice. I'm going to show them the door.
Yes, might not be enough light actually, but we'll have a look. For anyone that's there, this is a lead inlay door. It's going to be the front door on the old cottage. It's got some Butte hardware. That's the actual outside of the door. It's it's very heavy, it's solid timber. And it's a standard size door, which is good, because that's what the old one inside is. But I got this for a bargain. This was only $50 I picked this up for. And I think it's probably worth $350, $400, because it's about, I'm guessing, it's probably late 1950s, early 60s maybe.
Put it on the chook.
Yeah, I can do. Whack it on the chook.
If someone comes.
So it's going to look really good on the front of the old cottage. So that's that taken care of.
All the ant mounds show up as well.
They do actually. All the little ant villages. Yes, and very pleased with that door. It's got brass furniture on the door, so that alone will be worth a few bob. What are you doing? You want it on the chook?
Yeah. Gotta go make a
She doesn't
cuppa
want
in
to
a
talk to you
minute.
people.
No, it's not that. I'm going to go and make a cuppa in a minute.
Oh, that's a good idea. This won't be a long hangout tonight.
There might be some others on. You didn't check before you come on, did you?
I think 2 Aussies on, so there'll be quite a few in there. I don't expect them to come over just because I'm on. It was funny him really losing his steak there.
And then too much in his mouth.
Well, yeah. I thought he was going to have to take it out once that's
So did
there.
I.
He's not a terrible cook, but he certainly gives everything a go, which is why I tell people go and have a look. His name is the number 2, followed by the word Aussie. 2 Aussie. Just a decent bloke. Does a lot of cooking and review videos. But we're gloating about our door tonight. That's what this is all about. Let me show you again, in case you missed it. You're going to get bored of me doing this to you. There's our door.
That was a bit quick.
Yeah, well, some have already seen it. There's 300 people in here now.
Is there?
Well, 3, but they've got 10 friends each, I'm sure.
Actually got cool quick tonight.
What's that?
It's got cool quick
Yeah,
tonight.
it's 13. It's not super cold, but a bit of wind coming. It'd be a bit different. Still no rain.
This here dispels the myth, doesn't it?
No, not really. Sometimes they'll be seeking water, but that's so dry. The paddock is dry as a bone.
Paddock.
Yeah, Dave, it's
I haven't got a paddock. I've got a
like out of
backyard.
Dad and Dave. How dry is it, Dad? It's that dry. It's as dry as a dingo's donger. All right, Dad. No one know what I'm talking about. Old radio show in Australia called Dad and Dave. Classic. And that's how they sound. Mabel. What, dear? What's for dinner? Mutton. Again. Pretty much standard in the 60s in Australia was meat and 3 veg. Meat could be anything from kangaroo to galah, goanna,
Oh, it was
Beef.
nice.
could be chops. Actually, chops were real big, weren't they, in the 60s
Yeah,
and 70s?
meat and 3 veg.
So meat and
but
3 veg. You'd have a couple of chops and a big pile of veg. That was pretty much what most people had every night. You could pick up a sheep for a couple of bucks in the late 60s. So you could feed the family for at least 2 weeks on one sheep. but it's a bit different these days. There's a huge variety that we eat: pastas, fish, lots of influences from the Italians, a lot of European foods. Australia has a palate that's very varied now, where it really was. Most nights, just in the 60s and 70s, you'd have some sort of meat and 3 veg. Mum would make some steam pudding, you know, the old steam pudding, how you put it in a bag and steam it. Bit of jam in the middle, bit of homemade custard. They're the things I actually miss more than anything from the old days, was people always used to make homemade desserts, like what we call suet pudding and rice pudding, and all these things you just don't see people do. I do them every now and then, don't I?
Yeah.
But it's not like I do it all the time. But puddings were a filler. Even as a young boy at school in the UK, they used to provide lunch at the school, public schools, and you'd always have a fair meal. Sometimes you didn't like it, but you ate it, but you got get the cane across your knuckles. Some of you wouldn't have had that, but that was pretty common. And but you always look forward to dessert, things like spotted dick, rice pudding, suet pudding. Don't remember much ice cream, but it was always custards or blancmanges or jellies. So that was pretty cool. But that was quite common. A bit of the filler to feed you was dessert. Like I say, 2 cups of rice feeds the family of rice pudding without any trouble at all. And in the old days, you didn't have to worry about this thing about milk being half and half, light milk, 2% milk. It was just milk from a cow. And I don't, to this day, I only drink full cream milk, and I only eat butter. I don't like margarine. And like I say, I don't eat anything low fat at all, because it's bullshit, to be honest with you. They certainly do take the fat out of the product, but they fill it with sugar. But they don't want you to know about that. If you see anything in a supermarket or a shop that says low fat, avoid it like the plague. You're just taking buckets of sugar home. But yeah, no, they're one of the things I miss, like I say, as a kid. And when my mum was around, you know, in the 80s, she'd make all these puddings up. And my grandmother was the same. But puddings or dessert is very uncommon. Most people, if you go out to their place, you'll have maybe a soup or maybe an entree, really both of them. And then you have a main meal, and that's it. No one really does dessert anymore. Any occasions that we go to someone's place for an occasion, birthday, you know, all that sort of thing, I'll make a big pavlova, which is all sugar basically. And I do make rice pudding at home, and I make sponges and things like that. But really, I don't eat a lot of sweet food. So it's a shame, because I used to enjoy it. What are you people doing today? Have I got live chat on? I better check, because I never really do that. Yeah, I got it on now. What's the bus lady doing? Let's have a look. This is Voya Cam. Ooh. What is she actually doing? Oh, the dishes.
I think we're talking to ourselves.
Oh, that's all right. We do that all day anyway.
What? You didn't even have a pointing at my plate.
Yeah, I did. Dishes have got to be done now, I suppose. So there she is, up there, working away feverishly. Not much to watch, actually. I tend to, like I say, I like getting bargains, so I'll make up a big bulk of food. And yeah, then there's a lot of dishes, but I always rinse them out before she washes them. And then I can have these stacks of food, like 8 to 10 meals. So some nights just reheating. Like I had that chili beef the other night. I made that about 3 months ago. Bloody beautiful. I've still got some bacon, potato and leek soup in the freezer. What else have I got in the freezer? What else have I got in the freezer frozen? What's in those containers? Oh, that's shepherd's pie, isn't it? Yeah. Got a whole whack of shepherd's pie, which is yum. Comfort foods. He's making some more stews now that it's getting colder, and soups. We tend to eat a lot more crusty bread though during winter. My wife would eat easy 4 or 5 slices a day. I'd probably have one, but she does love her bread. But I had those little potato things tonight, leftover boiled potatoes I had with some cut up left rissoles. They were yum, just delicious. They filled us up. So, what's happening with you people today? Is anyone there? Hello? Hello? I did listen to, went over to Berg's channel. Yeah, I know, I should know better. But he was going on a bit of a rant. I can't figure Berg's out. He definitely is drinking too much. He definitely is obnoxious. And he definitely is angry. He's always angry. But I do remember when he first came onto the scene, he was always anti people begging for money. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what he's doing now. Send me money. I think someone said he wanted a new phone, an air ticket for somebody. So I don't know what's going on there. I think he's have a pretty disruptive life. And some nonsense about him being not having a home to live in a year's time. I don't know what that's all about. But he's certainly always angry. He said something about Australia's not a country, and I didn't really answer him because I knew that would wind him up. He hates not being answered. There's a little lesson for you. But something about Australia's not a country. Well, it is. It's a sovereign nation, Australia. And he said something about the Union Jack on our flag. Well, it's on 32 other countries' flags as well. It's called the Commonwealth. And that we're just an old outback siding. There's nothing here. There's heaps here. There's a door, for starters. See that door? Did I mention my door? $50. A stained glass front door with brass. There's a safety lock and a normal door knob as well. Brilliant. The lady just said they were renovating an old 1940s house, and they wanted to change something to do around the front door, like, yeah, they make 2 doors, so to cut into the old building. So they said, would I like that one? I said, absolutely. Because it's exactly, because mine's sort of 40 and 50 when it was built too, so it's actually the same size door that we're going to be taking out of the house. It's actually going to open a different way, which is good because we wanted it to go against the wall. At the moment it opens up into the room, pain in the bum. So this door will go on and open against the wall. G'day, Bucky. Yeah, it is a beaut door. Seriously, it would weigh, and you're a Canadian, so I can tell you what it would weigh. It'd weigh 80 kilo. It's solid timber, Jarrah. And me and another bloke, when I lifted it, I thought, Jesus. And it's heavy. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's got 3 hinges on it. Yeah, look, so I can turn it around. So it's got, well, and these are big hinges. Yeah, you can't really see it. But they're big monster hinges. Big buggers. So it's because it's a really heavy door. That's the, yeah, you're not getting a good picture. You'll see it better when I actually hang the door on the front door. You'll see. Yeah, it's a beaut. Like I say, easy 4 or 5. Oh, there's the boss. Easy $400 or $500 if you wanted to try and pick it up. But I got it for 50. Because I like spending only a little bit to get a lot. Just be patient. That's what we've been doing. Looking at things, weighing up the cost. But no, it's got a little bit of character. It's not perfect, the door. It's not showing any signs of fatigue. It's just showing age. So it doesn't need anything done to it. Doesn't need polishing or anything like that. But it's a beaut door. Yeah, I suppose you'd say it was natural wood patina, but got a nice. I think it's obviously had a lacquer put on it at some stage, and it's not. You know when lacquer, Bucky, sometimes peels and gets that little grotty thing. It's not that type of lacquer. It's a really old type lacquer that's very thick. So I just need to clean the door and maybe buff it with something like, I don't know, like a Mr. Sheen or something like that. Just a little bit of wax. But it goes well with that because the old cottage here is, it's all white. Well, it's off-white around the whole building, and now with the Jarrah door on it, it's a beaut contrast between the white and the Jarrah. Very dark timber. Yeah, so I did venture into Berg's playground for a little while today. I thought I was blocked. Apparently I wasn't. But he was going on about, you know, the British flag, the Australian flag, and wear bitches to the Queen. Okay. None of us even recognise the Queen here. And the flag is what it is. And more than likely, within the next 3 to 4 years, so we've been told, we will become a republic. Then we can start selling bananas. Here she is, Queen Nefertiti.
Waiting for the kettle.
Yeah, nice too when they dropped it off, weren't they? That old bloke, and they must be family members of the lady, I guess.
That's what I reckon.
Not a drop of rain though, dry as a bone. And not looking like rain either. It's getting a bit worrisome. 6 months with no rain. Mind you, it is Australia, so we have to wear that, don't we?
Yeah.
It's funny, you know, we went to Europe and all the clouds parted. There was no rain.
Everywhere we go.
So I'm thinking maybe we could get paid by countries to fly around the world in first class, of course. Go to countries that keep getting flooded. So we land there and the clouds part and there's no rain.
And we leave when it dries up enough.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, when we leave, it'll come back again. So we've got return business.
Yeah.
That's weird. Everywhere we go, it does not rain. Drought man. I don't see any talking at all. So maybe I've got my settings on wrong or something. Is anyone talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bucky just
All right. Yeah, no, maybe.
said howdy, just said hello.
Yeah, I saw a couple of comments of Bucky's. Why do they build decks out of Australia? Here it's Western red cedar. Normally hardwoods. Some of the cheaper alternatives are what they call a composite, which is like plastic with wood fibres in it. You know what I'm talking about, Bucky? But we're using proper hardwood Jarrah. There's all types of timber here, like Wandoo. There's, you name it, we've got a Tasmanian oak. There's a whole range of hardwoods. They are very expensive though. Give you an idea, something that's about 4 inches across width by about 20 mil or an inch thick by 6 metre stick is probably worth about $50 just for one stick of Jarrah. So it's not cheap, but it'll last forever. Good morning, Finite. But when you see the, Bucky, it's the old saying, you pay for what you get. You'll see when we get the floor laid into the, thank you, Finite, we enjoyed it even more. But when we get the floor laid, you'll see the Jarrah and why it's worth what it's worth. And even on the al fresco area, which is 6 metres, about 20 foot by 12. It's just a little, that'll be all Jarrah decking as well. So it is an expense, but it's well worth it in the end because it's long lasting, it's beautiful to look at, and very practical.
hello to Finity World.
Finite.
Oh, sorry, finite.
Finity. We'll call you Finity. Oh,
Sorry.
my wife's Irish. That'll be Finity there.
No, I'm just.
You make a great newsreader.
I wouldn't I?
You really would.
I always say people's names wrong. I apologise.
It's all good.
What do I always do? What do you call it? I always say things backwards.
Spoonerism.
I always, yeah.
Oh, there's a one famous thing that my wife always says. I let her tell you.
You could say it.
She went to the cupboard when my children were here, and she said, I'm just going to go and get some cock porn. Do you want some?
Oh, but my kids cracked up.
And she hasn't just said it once.
I meant to say popcorn.
Would you like some cock porn? And one of our daughters looks at Mum and said, Mum, stop it. Thinking her mum had done it deliberately. But no. Spoonerism.
I didn't do it deliberately.
It's like when I'm writing. When you're writing or even typing on a keyboard and you've got something in your head and you want to get it down, and then all of a sudden you're doing all these big words, 8, 10 letter words, no problem. And then you get to a simple word like, how do I spell that? It's like a 3 or 4 letter word, and you think, I don't know, it's just a block that I've had from time to time. I just stop, go and get a drink, come back, go, oh, that's right. But you often ask the silliest questions like, how do you spell teacher? When you know exactly how it's spelled, you just forgot. Or maybe it's just because I'm getting old. That could be a reason. I did see a little bit of the man in the van's video with his friend, which was so funny. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but I watched about 20 minutes of the Canadian man smoking in a van, giving the man in the van shit. That was so funny. I pissed myself laughing. I had to go out, but I watched about 20 minutes of it. Smoking, he's calling him fat. Oh dear. I did hear one thing though. I tend to catch what people say, but what they also mean. And it was something to do with he was going to give the man in the van money for a meal. And the man in the van, I think just for the camera, said, no, I don't want any of that. I have too much respect for you. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. And then, because like I say, I listen to what people say, but how they say it, the Canadian man said, well, you don't need any more of my money. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's the end of the gravy train from the north. It's got to come to an end anyway, we all know that. But that was funny. Smoking in his van. I was listening because Norm sat down in front of the computer and all I heard was this, you're killing me. And then just before I left, Norm was saying, get me a whiskey, get me a drink. It was like watching the organ grinder spank the monkey. I'm sure someone's going to do parody videos out of that. Get me a drink. Oh dear. Hey, what you do for love? The love of money, that is. I sold my soul.
Did you show your door?
I've shown the door about 3 times. I'll show it again in a second because it's the title of the show. Those that don't know, we picked up, we had an eye on it for a while, but we picked up a beautiful solid timber door to go on the old cottage, not the new extension.
Front door.
Front door. And it's a beauty. You don't get a good look in the light here, but it is an incredibly heavy door with a beautiful inlay. And got some good brass furniture on the actual door. Whoop, didn't do that right. Maybe you can see that. I don't know what I'm pointing at.
Yep, that's it.
But it's a standard good sized door, which literally would cost you 400 or 500 to try and buy it new. It's either late 40s or late 50s, I was told, when it was manufactured, and it weighs in kilograms, and most of you people here know it's kilograms, about 80 kilograms. It's very heavy. It's solid timber. So it is beautiful. And we actually thought, well, maybe we could keep that for the extension actually over here, just beyond that park bench, and a bit further out will be the side entrance to the house. We nearly thought about using this there, but we've got some other butte doors in the shed. So what we're going to do is use this on the whole front of the cottage. It'll look really cool. What?
I don't know. Sean said, chop, chop, times are wasting. I said, what for?
He's probably got things to do. He's a busy man, Sean. On a tight schedule. He's got his daily berating of Nicole to organise. So when she comes on, he'll give her crap, because she likes that.
Or if you can use my muddled up word I said. To move this to a country without a Union Jack. Oh.
If you know Australians well enough, Sean, we take no notice of that.
Oh my God,
Look, we're very close to the UK, don't get us wrong.
Sean,
But the Queen has no relevance on Australian life at all.
but Seeds purposely didn't. Seeds was listening. Purposely didn't type in the.
Because my wife said, answer him. I said, no, he'll hate it if I don't.
Yeah, he knew it would annoy you not to
It's so
answer
funny.
him.
He's going on and on about, you're not a real country. Well, we are actually. You're just an outpost. No, we're not. We've got 25 million people that live here. Taxation without representation. Doesn't matter how you say that in each country, keeping. It's true. They take money and they say, oh, it's this new law. It's like in the UK. Ask Sean about the poll tax in the UK. Look, even now I'm led to believe you have to pay a TV licence in the UK. When I was a kid, there'd be whistles going around the district in the 60s. And that was for you to say, turn your telly and unplug it from the wall. Why? Well, if you didn't have a TV licence in the 60s, you'd lose it. But poll tax, I mean, just tax for no reason.
Yeah, that is a bit stupid, a TV tax.
Well, we had it here once. Do you remember a character called Alan Bond? Multi-millionaire, ended up being in jail. I looked after him for a while, actually. But he had terrible collapse of his companies. He still tucked money away, though. But the companies collapsed. It was so bad, and in my state, the state government at the time decided that there would be a $25 levy on your driver's licence renewal each year for 10 years to pay off the debt.
That he called.
That's taxation without representation. In other words, oh, we got in a bit of a hole, so you guys can pay for it. And that happens all over the world. But the poll taxes in the UK were horrendous. And is it right, Sean, they still have to pay a TV licence? Can't be right, surely. Yes, that's right, Bucky. That's ridiculous. See, in Australia, they do it a bit simpler. 8 cents, is it 8 cents a week, isn't it? 8 cents a week is literally what comes out of a levy at the end of the year in your tax. So what's that? 8 times 360, 20 bucks. But that literally is incorporated into things like health system and things like that. So, but I don't know. Are you going to get another Maggie Thatcher shortly? Well, not Sean, but he still is British. But I mean, who is going to be the leader? Boris? Maybe Lindy could be vice president. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Boris, the leader of the British Parliament. That'll be interesting, because he has a very firm opinion about, well, the British people spoke and we have got to leave.
Well, Bergs is carrying on like a pork chop. Tell him to move and go over there to England.
Who?
Bergs.
No, he wouldn't survive in the UK, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's local as well, isn't it? Like in Canada and UK, it's the same as here.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree, Sean. Usually body wax, I imagine, because we're the cheapest thing available. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was nearly to the month that I'd been away from the UK for 50 years. And I have a good recollection of when I was there and what it was like. And what's been taken out of Britain, and I mean that collectively, is the individuality of a British person in the way they talk, how they communicate, because where we stayed, look, we stayed in some nice hotels. We stayed near Chelsea and we stayed near Earl's Court. And you know, the hardest thing to find, Sean, was someone British. And I didn't mean that in skin colour either. I meant that in literally Lithuanians, Bulgarians, Russians. Very sad. Hello, Miss MB. But
Hi,
yeah,
MB.
I mean, MB could tell you the same thing. All over Europe, it's like, it's happened all over the world. We're very multicultural in Australia, don't get me wrong. And I'm never going to be called a racist. But it's what I'm trying to say, the British has been taken out of the British. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Sean? It's like it's been shaved off on the edges and it's all round and it's not like it used to be. Like I only met one Mancunian in Manchester. Remember that?
Mm.
Outside the hotel, I thought, my God, you're a Manc. He said, oh yeah. The rest of them weren't.
That's was just reading Bucky's comments like our Foxtel.
Morning, Ella. Actually, we only ever watch on telly free to air, and there's heaps of stations for that, or we just have Netflix. Cable we had years ago, but it was like $80 a month.
Yeah, Foxtel.
We said, yeah, Foxtel it's called here. It's like any other
It
cable
was
company.
ridiculous. Like,
And you had to watch things you didn't want to watch.
and well, I call it the hobo, but the HBO channel. But I say hobo. We had to pay separate for that.
Yeah, so for me, online, I can see nearly anything I want to see. We don't watch a lot of telly anyway, do we, as a rule? But if there's something like
No, there's enough drama on
a show
YouTube.
we want to watch, it'll be on Netflix.
There's enough comedy and drama on Voice alone.
Well, the difference between Boyd and cable television is that not all of cable television is manufactured.
Coming to you soon.
Some of it's reality.
Coming to you soon, a new reality show on Voice.
There is no reality on Boyd. It's make believe and pretend, and I'm something I'm not. Hello, SV. Hi, Terry. You do have YouTube TV. I'm trying, can you just remember that name I said?
Oh no, I can't now.
I wanted to tell you guys about this channel.
Yeah, because it is very good
Oh,
actually.
I got it. I remember. I'll get you to type it in. It's just building skills. Some of you would watch that Australian guy called Primitive Technology. I'm sure some of you have watched that. He's brilliant. Well, I'm pretty sure this is organised, but it's a channel called Building Skills, and it's them making mud huts, all sorts of buildings, underground and everything like that. But if you get a chance to look at it,
Is that the channel?
yes, Building Skills. Can you put the link to the channel in?
I am.
She is. Stand by. MB says she's real. She is, but she's such a cute little thing. Come up here on Seed's knee, MB. Come on up. There you go.
What are you doing?
She's so tiny.
Who?
MB.
Oh, MB, yeah.
Oh, you've seen that one, Ella? You mean the Building Skills? Is that the one you're talking about? It's very interesting. I think it's run by somebody with a bit of money, but these blokes do the same thing all the time. Yes, yes. I mean, the Amazon millionaires. It's not the so-called wealth that people have. It's the lies, if you know what I mean. There are a lot of people on YouTube, I have no doubt in my mind, are very wealthy. I really do mean that. And there's lots of people that struggle, for sure. But it's those people who really are not what they are. They just make up the story of how rich and wealthy they are. And the bit I don't like at all is throwing your wealth in someone else's face. I detest that. I did it hard when I was young. I had nothing. I slept in the car for a year and travelled around Australia and worked wherever I could work.
Oh, fireworks.
Oh, we're going to set off some fireworks for you.
I don't think that we'll get to see them.
Maybe just a car backfire. We normally get fireworks Saturday night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like, it's the pretentious, you know,
Actually-
being pretentious. I'm this, that and the other and I'm better than you because I've got money. No, you're not.
Actually, it was a motorbike.
So that was your fireworks display?
Oh dear.
Only about 10 o'clock in it when they go off. Bad then.
Yeah.
My grandfather had a good saying, but he did work hard all his life. He said, having money is a better form of poverty. And as a kid, I'm thinking, what's he talking about? He means if you've got money, it's better than living a life of poverty. But no one will pay for your life for the rest of your life. But if you believe that you're entitled to all of this, it doesn't even have to be money, but people doing things for you and you having to do nothing for it, it's pretentious, it's delusional. I haven't seen anyone count money on YouTube, but I just think, MB, you know what I'm saying? I don't think the value of a person doesn't come in the size of their wallet. Never has, never will be. Does everybody have to be upstanding and not tell a fib every now and then? I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people that do a few little fibby things on YouTube, like put a picture of themselves up from 1970 and then say they're only 30 when they're probably older than me, like 80. But that's not harming anyone. That doesn't hurt people, unless they're catfishing, but you know what I mean.
What's this catfishing business? What?
Yeah, I don't get that, Sean, at all. Well, catfishing is like setting someone up because you're going to deceive them, be it on any level, be it for money or a love interest or things like that. It's just being deceptive. And I don't like deceptive and misleading people because they tell half-truths, which means it's half a lie. Rabbits. Well, you know what you're having for dinner then? Rabbit. I had heaps of rabbit when I was a kid. I know Sean's not as old as me, but when you were a kid in the UK, did you get rabbit or hare? I don't mean hair on your rabbit, I mean, you know, the big rabbit, hare or rabbit. We used to have it all the time. Well, they are really, with chemicals these days in Australia because we use myxomatosis on them. But you know what I say, there's nothing wrong in being presented well. And look, if someone's ill or someone's infirm or, you know, let's be brutal, ugly, like me, and they want to embellish a little bit, I don't see any problem with that, you know. That's a persona they're putting out, but they're not after deceiving people or mislead them for money and things like that. MB is blonde and the same size as a garden gnome. She's short. Yes, actually many years ago. My voice is a bit different now, but I tried to get talked into doing radio. I don't know why. They said your voice is perfect for radio, which means they were saying, just like you said, Sean, it's no good for pictures. I have a full head of six-packs and a hairy belly. Is that what you just said? It doesn't matter, doesn't it? I honestly don't care what people's sexuality is. I don't care if they're cute and short like MB or really tall. I don't care about the colour of your skin. I go on what a person does, not so much what they say. Another old saying my grandfather taught me was, believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. That's pretty good sound advice, really, because you can be deceived. But it's the storytelling with that embellishment of lies and misleading and deception that is prevalent on YouTube. I don't like the idea of people using other people for money. If you're just too damn lazy to work, there's no way that other people should pay for your life.
Damn, does that mean we can't put a super chat on again for when we go to the US?
Well, we could do, but you know, I never will. I've been monetised for years and years.
Just kidding.
Seeds is tiny. No, I said cute, MB. All right, I'll get rid of the cute and just put tiny. If that's what you want. Want to be self-deprecating? It's okay. I will permit you to do so in this room. MB is going to be self-deprecating and then accuse me of calling her tiny. I said you are cute. Not acute, cute. But a lot of you guys have been around a long time, and you will know what I'm going to say next is true. There's a thing in life called the shit and the sugar. You know, you sometimes got to put up with the shit to get to the sugar. And I think most of us are getting to the point where we can really easily distinguish between shit and sugar on YouTube now. So a lot of these people who are seeking the attention, the extroverts that just want your money all the time, are being found out. And it's I think, rapidly coming to an end. I don't know what you guys think, but I think people have had enough. I think people just want to get on, have a laugh. There'll always be people having a fight. That's human nature. But the shit that is out there, that is put forward as gold, and it's not, everyone's becoming aware of it. In other words, you know, is this the sort of thing that you would permit in your own life? And the answer for me on many channels is no way.
Albino.
Albino?
Albino, sorry, I've never heard of it. Sean says his kids ask him daily, Dad, what's for dinner?
Yeah,
So I
you know what
tell
I'm
them
saying then, Sean.
repeatedly.
It's an old saying in the UK that I grew up with.
Oh, it's shit with sugar.
No, you've got to take a little bit of shit with the sugar.
Yeah, no.
It means you've got to head down, bum up, grind away in life. If you work hard enough and you do the right things by people, it normally comes back in bucketfuls.
No, I'm just thinking of the Australian saying, what people used to say, shit on toast.
Or
But there's
what,
some horrible sayings.
an exclamation is like, shit a brick.
Yeah. Shit a brick and built a house.
Actually, I did listen to a comedy. Sure you've all heard it. It's a guy explaining shit. And he gave about 300 definitions of it. Like, just different meanings for it. Like, there's no way in the world that we wouldn't, in the future, help someone. That's never going to be an issue.
I
Well-
love SV's videos when they're mocking e-beggars.
Yeah,
You see
I've
them,
seen them, yeah. But I certainly am very discerning where I will help someone. I don't like sending people money, to be honest, online.
I missed that one, Sean. What troll squirrels?
He's talking about Zare. He's frightened of squirrels, I think. See, MB?
Bye, MB.
MB lives permanently on the Autobahn. She just goes up and down, and every now and then she stops when she gets a Wi-Fi signal and says hello, and then gets back on the Autobahn and drives for another 23 hours. But I think it is. I truly believe that what we now all have uncovered, all the fluffy bits removed, is a lot of these channels are deceptive. And it's all about money. It's all about me, me, me. And when you realise that, there's no way I'd give anyone like that money, particularly online. But I think it's coming to a level where people are just saying, no, I'm not going to give you anything. And it's ridiculous when you see people scream and shout about it.
He was parked under a tree in Florida one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were
They're
dropping
attacking me.
acorns and such as he was live, so he referred to them. Oh. I hadn't actually heard that.
I mean, my opinion of him is that he is like a 14-year-old boy, spoiled, who wants everything to come his way and go his way, and anything that goes wrong is someone else's problem, just like a teenager does. And he stomps and grinds his feet and cries until someone helps, like a teenager does. In other words, he doesn't take responsibility for his life at all. And I'm not being mean when I say this, because I look 60, but I am 60. the man in the van looks at least 55. He's got a head like a watermelon and morbidly obese. It's very sad. And his idea that it's the food types that he's eating causing his problem, it's not true. It's probably partially true. The truth is it's the quantity of food.
Oh, well, Bucky, you can come and lift up our pavers and help lay new ones when we do it.
Yeah, Bucky keeps mentioning it.
You're experienced at it, Bucky.
I've got about 100 square metres to lift. It's going to happen, but because we're still probably a month away from construction starting because of, council regulations, that's how it goes here. Same
Plus,
everywhere
we
else.
can't disturb our
Well, it's not
our
that.
crop
We,
circles.
if we took the
can't-
pavers away, we're just walking on dirt.
See, hang on, where's my hand? No, see all those thingies down there? I can't even point right. They're all ant mounds.
Right, for those who haven't seen it, I've got to point to it.
At the door.
There's the door. It's a beauty. If you haven't seen it, now you have $50.
It's like it's
I'm gloating.
stuck down in that fence again.
Well, did you leave that hole, did you?
I left the hole open, yeah, but I can just hear rustling.
Rustling?
Yes.
What if it's a cow? Or a dinosaur?
What do you mean a milk float, Sean? At the age of 6.
He's talking about what he did, I imagine.
Yeah, at the age of 6 he was working on the weekends on a milk float.
I was 9 delivering newspapers. I've been watching the Margaret River Pro going on now. That's a wicked beach, mate. I used to take my kids down there and I used to love surfing. I actually preferred body surfing, and
Oh,
Margaret River is perfect because if you know what I'm talking about, the edge of the sand is very acute. It's not like level going into the ocean. So when you come in, you get thumped, and it's very coarse sand down at Margaret River. But where they do the competition, it's out a bit, of course. But it's a beach you've got to be very careful with your kids. One moment they're there, next minute they've been sucked out.
rips.
So, yeah, even I got bowled over one day coming in. I've been body surfing, cruising, having a great time. Went to walk up the beach, and about a 5-foot dumper got me, bowled me over. Nice area, Margaret River. Well, was it the electric driven milk van, Sean? I'm just curious.
Yeah, Sean said it was it's an electric vehicle.
Oh yeah, Great Lakes. Yeah, all the old ones when I was a kid, and people talk about electric vehicles. Most of them were electric, mainly because they had to be quiet, and not many milkmen were quiet.
Yes, Margaret River is nice. There's a nice little pub down there actually.
It's a cute little animal farm near Margaret River too. Took the grandkids there once. Great place to go if you come to Western Australia. Not just Margaret River, but we got some beautiful rainforest and some fantastic nature reserves. And the oceans, well, it's like someone's just painted them.
Well, do you ever, SV used to live here. Did you ever go to Margaret River, SV?
No, it's beautiful down there, even like as far down as Dunsborough. We lived in Augusta for a while, and Bustleton we lived, didn't we? Yeah, Margaret River is a town, but actually the town's just inland a little bit, but the ocean is just a couple of K away.
Yeah, big surfing club
And it's
down
got, well, at certain times of the year, particularly this time of the year, when winter kicks in, we get those southern winds come from the Antarctic and some big swells, so they have competition there. Unfortunately, in Margaret River, people aren't the only things that like surfing in the waves. We've lost, unfortunately, quite a few people around that area to sharks. It's very common. It's too common in my state. I had a 10'6" longboard, Ella, and you're probably the only oldest person in the room that would know what I'm talking about. Weighed a ton, but man, magnificent. Not like these little flimby 5'6" they use now. Better designed, of course. Lake Erie, should have seen the face when I pulled out the surfboard. Actually, there's a crew from Australia. They've been doing it. They're about 45 years of age now. And they've only done a few YouTube videos. I forget what channel they're called. But a group of about 6 guys that have been around the world dozens of times, competing in competitions, but not good enough to win them. But they do it on like a 4-month basis. They'll go away for certain seasons of the surfing, and they just have fun, which is good. That's what it should be like. I don't know if it's on or not. If I get a warning, I know it's not. But yeah, that's the thing about life, you know. If you've got something you love doing, and you don't have to marry if you don't want to, you might want to just cruise the world, work hard for 6 months, a bit like Gerald, Mr. Coates, work a bit, play a bit. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And if you've got the available money to do it, do it. I would always, if someone said to me, oh, I've been thinking of travelling, I would suggest stop thinking about it. Just do it. And try and do it with somebody. There's nothing worse. We've seen a couple of people that are lone travellers. And the one thing I love about when we get back is that we have already shared that experience. And the wife will say something about, do you remember? They go, oh yeah, it was great. So you've got these shared experiences. So whatever you do, if you do travel, don't travel alone. Travel with someone, close friend, wife. Maybe borrow a wife if you can.
Borrow a wife.
She's fiddling with the camera.
That's loose.
Yeah.
You gotta tighten that up.
Studio technicians. We apologise for the break in transmission. We'll be back to normal programming shortly.
Yeah, I don't know if that's...
Like I say, if I get a warning, I know it's not charging. So
Should have made the sound though.
but there's all different experiences you can have. Like if you got that, like these guys love surfing, and they would always light a fire on a beach somewhere. Sometimes get in trouble for doing it. Yeah, Perth is a very beautiful city, SV, as you know. We're very spoiled here, and it's easy to get around everywhere, and there are no toll roads. Bloody Sydney, Melbourne with their bloody toll roads. We've got family that live in a place called Riverstone, and well, we lived there too for a little while, but you drive in, it's about 45 kilometres to the centre of Sydney. All these new freeway, highways things, they're all owned by different companies. And I'm not lying to you, to go from there to Sydney and back in one day, it's close to $100 in tolls. $100. And then that's not including the fuel you use or the parking at the airport. $20 for 15 minutes in some spots. So I don't like big cities. Even though Perth is quite a big city, it's a well-designed city and there are no tolls. And it's easier to get on and off the freeways to wherever you want to go. But we do have a union. Excuse me. We do have a Union Jack on our flagbergs.
So?
That's because we couldn't get a picture of McKeever up there. Very lonely. Very, very sad. Bergs is a very lonely person. Angry with the world. There's obviously reasons for that, which we don't need to know, but there obviously are reasons.
No, he just likes to carry on like a pork chop.
No, usually when someone has been beaten up in life, emotionally, physically or whatever, they try to spread that love with everyone else. Otherwise they try and give everyone else the same pain that they're in. You can always try and help somebody if they're in that little depressive hole, but whatever you never do is don't get in the bloody hole with them. You know, put your hand in and say, I'll give you a hand, mate, and when they try and bite it off, you say, see ya. See you later. Because some people want you to bring you down to their misery.
You should make some meat pies, SB. Do you make meat pies?
I make meat pies.
No, so he was saying that it's hard to explain to his wife what a meat pie is.
Who? Oh, SV's
SV,
wife,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they call them pot pies in America, and a lot of the pot pies don't have bottoms on them. They're just covered. But, like I say, never stop trying to help people that you can see genuine need. And you know, here's my lesson that I believe is quite true. I follow it in my life. generally, people that are in desperate need and need help never ask for it. I'm being serious. In my experience, those in desperate need and in dire straits financially or emotionally literally never ask for help.
Oh, they
But
get,
when you see it and you know it's genuine, you can help them.
yeah, they might get to a point where they realise they have to, but they do it genuinely and quietly.
But it is very true. I believe that's quite a good philosophy. You don't have to take it with you, but it's what I use, is that we've seen people who are doing it tough, I'm not going to deny that, and certainly not in the best circumstances, but then they're a little bit deceptive and misleading in what they say and bullshitting basically. And if you just sit back and listen for a while, you know that's the case. But you'll see genuine people in genuine need really put their hand out. It's either pride or it's like, well, it's my problem. I've got to try and get through this. And that's a good attitude to have. When you're down and out and you're right at the bottom, it can be a good thing because there's only one way to go. But some people need to go to the bottom, like the man in the van. Until that happens, he will be living in perpetual poverty at the whims of other people, and literally a monkey dancing for an organ grinder means that when the organ grinder stops spinning the wheel, you're a very hungry monkey. Mind you, this particular this particular monkey don't look that hungry to me.
You're doing a spoonerism.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the people I've met in my life, Ella, who have been to the bottom, I'm talking about people that may have committed suicide, who have been in financial ruin, or have lost someone dear to them, and they're right down the bottom. These people in later life are the strongest people because they know what they see, they've felt it, they've been there, otherwise been there, done that, if you like. So it boils down to that they've lived the experience, they understand what hardship is, and they can also discern between the beggars and the people that need genuine help.
It must be working because it says 97. I was
Okay.
on 100.
Give it all you got, Scotty. Give it all you got. But the truth is, most of the people on YouTube are good people. Please don't forget that. Most of them are pretty good. Some are little fib tellers and whatever. Yeah, that's right, Ella. But most of them are good people. There's a handful of very much, in my eyes, undesirables who take advantage of people for their own monetary gain. You know who I'm talking about. I don't even have to mention names. When it comes to that, I think that the mood has swung. People are starting to say, nah, this ain't right. And you don't have to do anything. The secret about getting a balance in any society, be it online or in real life, is that there is a natural process that takes place where people who have been that way for so long are no longer accepted. But the secret is not to fight them, but to ignore them. Because there's something, an extrovert in particular, hates. You saw an example if you were in Berg's rooms today where I didn't answer. That's for him, that was a nightmare. He wanted the tit for tat. He wanted the back and the forth. And when I gave him nothing, he got angrier and angrier, which shows that the problem lay with him and not anyone else. But they hate not being the centre of attention. You know these people where they say, oh, I've got 300 views and Sean and Seeds have only got 100 views. It makes me better than them. No, it doesn't. It basically shows the narcissism. It shows the lack of self-confidence. It shows that unrealistic things are more important than the reality.
A lot of rustling going around out there.
I half read what Jojo said.
I'll tell you in a
Yeah.
sec.
I read what Sean said. Well, the
Very
sad
sad
part is
time
that you only
here.
get to have one mum. Let's be all honest here. You only get one mum. And whether there's a good or bad relationship with that particular mother, she's basically ignored. Yes, obviously there's dementia and there are issues there. But, you know, I remember seeing one thing that really disgusted me is that he took his dear mum out for dinner and gave her cheese and crackers. Whereas the night before and the night before that, would spend about $60 on foods and smorgasbord. But his dear old mum got a sandwich from a machine, I think it was, a sandwich, and cheese and crackers. Really? She'll be gone
What's
soon
that
enough.
popcorn as well?
I don't know. I just know you just don't do that.
Hey Jojo. Jojo said he's here in Elbow's defence.
Is he?
Yeah, please support him at rodsup.com.
There's obviously a meaning to rods up, but
Yeah.
it's beyond me at the moment, Jojo.
Yeah, Ella, he did.
I'll give you an example. I'm going to role play. Right, Ella? Listen to me, Ella. Ella, listen to me. No, you're not listening to me, Ella. All right? You're in timeout because you're not... Joe, you haven't given me any money this week. Just block him. Mods, you do your job. Block Jojo.
Okay.
Sean? No, he hasn't given me any money. Right, until you guys pay me money, you're going to be blocked. I'm going to let you sit there. I'm only going to time you out so you can come back and pay me. But you've got to understand, I'm a godlike character. I am brought onto this earth to show you what value I am to you. I'm important in your life. You need to understand this.
Jeez, you're very convincing.
Hang on a second.
You're very convincing. How do I donate?
Wait a minute. Are you... I'm singing into a cup. They need to know that.
Oh.
Are you lonesome
It's
tonight?
going to be a piss joke.
Oh, there's another one, isn't there? I just sang it the other night.
What?
What was that song? On the road again, just waiting on my PayPal friends. Anyway, back to my godlike status and how you are so privileged to have me in your life. So I want you to realise what I'm doing is antagonising you because you're really annoyed that I'm saying I'm a godlike character, and you know that's not true, and you're getting really angry, so you'll start commenting, which means I make money out of you by putting in the comments. And when it comes down to the real fact, I'll just abuse you in a few videos, and I'll delete them because then you can never prove that I did those sort of things. Like I'm going to cut the head off that chicken.
Even though people copy them, everyone's got copies of it.
So it's a case of, I'm back in my normal mode now, it's a case of delusion versus reality. Here's
Hey,
the
Jag
example.
girl.
Hi, Jag. This person says he's a king. No, he's a pauper. So it's the reverse of what he says. He is the king of freedom. In fact, he's tied to a life of slavery, living between white lines in car parks.
Oh.
He is not a god. In fact, he would be the absolute opposite of a god.
Oh my God, is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm just
But
believing the wrong
the bit
thing.
that he does, it's called psychological prodding. He wants to prod you. You've seen it with Gerald, how he does it to Gerald and all that. He doesn't like anyone intelligent like you people talking to him because it's like, right, I'm going to block Sean, block him. And Jag, block her, and Ella Jack, block her as well. Why would he block you? Well, you know the truth. You know what he's saying is nonsense. You're never going to give him money. And then in 6 weeks' time, after he's blocked all of you, and no one's commenting, he'll unblock all of you again.
I've decided to unblock everybody. I've decided to give you all a second chance.
Yeah. It's a pitiful life. If you really think about, okay, I'm just going to grab Jag girl. And I don't mean this in the true sense, Jag, but I'm going to put you in the B-class van. He's not there. It's just you. It stinks. There's no toilet. There's no shower. You've got very little money. And you're sleeping in car parks. You're eating off plastic knives and forks and plates. You have no idea where you're going to throw your human waste. Maybe in that bin tonight or that one over there. You literally don't know what's going to happen next week. You have no health care. You're too frightened to go to a doctor because you're paranoid that you are really ill, and that's the case. That's the true case. He really does think he's really ill, and I think he is. You are now, Jag, which you're not. You're now morbidly obese, and you hate people calling you fat, lazy, e-beggar, when in fact all of those things are just statements of fact. Fat, lazy, e-beggar. What part of that's not true?
I don't know who Carl Broke is, SV. Is
Carl
that another...
Brooks, I think they're talking of.
Brooke. Oh, Brooke. What did I say?
He was living on a boat.
I forgot. I'm going to walk in front of the camera.
We done? No, he doesn't have that button, Ella, where it's like I'm doing something wrong. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. This year's nightgown wear. Dun, 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 dun. Right out. But there's one thing that you never see from him. And this is what's really sad. When have you seen him genuinely smile and laugh? It's indicative of his lifestyle. There is no laughter. And for anyone to continue asking for you to love him means there is no love in his life.
I did hear that. There must be a party somewhere. We weren't invited.
Hot tamale. But he doesn't laugh, he doesn't smile, lives a life of perpetual poverty between white lines in car parks. The very least he would be is not the king of freedom. He is a slave to his lifestyle. And his recent attack on Coates is indicative. If you listen to what he said about Coates, it's mere projection. It's got nothing to do with Coates at all. It's a confession box. What you're listening to him say, all those things about Gerald, is literally like him talking to a priest. Here are my sins. Is Gerald perfect? Not at all. I don't think he's perfect at all. I'm sure he makes mistakes. But he seems a decent enough kid. He works, pays his tax. If he gets any... Look, we've easily helped our kids with thousands of dollars this year, haven't we? Easy. And why do you do that? Because you love them. That's why you do it. Even though your kids have left and they've got kids of their own, there are times when you can step in and help. So I have no problem with anyone receiving money from their parents if they're able to give it. It's not onerous, doesn't have to be done, but I don't think this man in the van has any family member that cares about him at all. I don't think anyone would step up. I mean, this is a horrible thing to say, but if he passed away through kidney liver failure and he was in a hospital, I have no idea who's going to bury him. Do you? And who would be there for the funeral? We know Gerald will be there, but he'd just be urinating on the ground. That's a joke, by the way. No, I'm with you, Sean. I've made it very clear. Well, you probably saw my video. There's no need to use gender references because that's not the issue. And even though we know what he said, in essence, is true, the wording was offensive.
Yeah, what Sean says is correct. We were saying that. Gerald tries, but just doesn't word it right, eh? I didn't see his last statement.
Well, he's just angry that he's been accused of all sorts of things, and the truth is that the man in the van, with all these accusations and threats and all that, is simply mere projection. He's telling you what his life's like. Any psychologist sitting down would saying, oh, he's telling his life story, but he's accusing someone else of it. It's just projecting. I don't want to be that person, so I'm going to blame someone else. It's very sad. But like I say, I watched about 20 minutes of the Norm video, smoking in his van, calling him fat, lazy, and then demanding he went and got him a scotch. I just pissed myself laughing. Like I say, there's lots of things you do for love, of money. So the monkey organ grinder spanked the monkey. And I think that was Norm's intention, to be honest with you. I do really think that was Norm's intention. This has all been about Norm.
CSV.
CV. It's all been about what, because Norm's lonely. I mean, a lot of old blokes get lonely. Let's not pass that question. That's true. But do you have to pay for your attention? Because it won't really last.
Yeah. Well, what's
Yeah.
that YouTube channel, JJ? Is that his uncle?
Well, I don't go to Rosie's channel anymore. I do not like, and it's very clear, I don't hide the fact, I do not like the people in society that are at the bottom to being taken advantage of for content. I made it very clear recently in Europe, I could have made some of the worst videos you could possibly imagine about depravity, homeless people, drug addicts, all these terrible things, but I would never do that.
If it's in a documentary style, because their life
Oh, I
story
agree. If it
is
was there
interesting,
and
yeah.
it was documentary and
Done
it was like
properly.
me going up, let's say Jag was a homeless drug addict, which he's not,
This
and I went up to
Jag
Jag and said, look, Jag, there are some facilities I can show you. There's some places where you can sleep, and here are some places you can get something to eat. But I certainly wouldn't just film Jag and talk about her being the low end of society while I'm making money off my YouTube channel. That's deplorable in my eyes. That's the reason I don't go to Rosie's anymore. I don't hate Rosie. I just hate what she does. The behaviour
Not
is
hate, you
it's
don't
abhorrent.
like. Hate is a strong word. We only hate.
No, I don't hate her. I just do not. I don't want
No,
to go
you said
down that
you-
line while I'm watching depraved people being used for content.
Yeah, no, I know. You didn't say you hate her. I mean, you said you hate her content.
I hate the behaviour.
It's a very strong word. We only hate anchovies, remember?
Well, I don't like
Because
anchovies,
we
that's
don't
for sure.
use the word hate.
But
'cause
that's.
it's-
I mean, and I don't make any hullabaloo, and I don't make any videos about it. And when I've been asked, I've told you what I just said. That's the reason.
yeah.
I just won't go there for that. I like Vinny a lot, but I won't go to Vinny's while Berg's still going there. And Vinny knows that.
No, but we go there and listen to when he plays music or goes for drives.
But I don't have to be anywhere I don't want to be. That's the secret. You don't have to toe the line. And I remember years ago when I first came on YouTube and was chatting, people said, oh, you're either with me or against me. And I said, well, I'm not with you then. And I'm not with the other person, so you can shove it up your ass. I don't toe the line because it's the popular format to follow. I've never done that. If I don't think something's right, you just won't see me. That's it. Like if all of us were now in a restaurant and out of 10 of us, 5 of us got a bad meal, there's a very good chance we would all not go back. What's oh, I don't give a, no, don't worry about it. Put thumbs down. I don't care. I really do
It's a
not
joke.
care.
I always say that as a joke too. Come on, get those thumbs up, people. Come on. Like it, like.
No, I don't think you won at all. Have you seen my shower video, Ellie? Come on. I was naked, Ellie. Not just wearing chaps. Naked.
No, we do go to Venice. We just sort of sit in the background.
I don't think I can do it, but I'll try.
Oh, you,
Hello, darling.
how can you do it? The camera. Oh, you turn the camera on.
Hello. Sharon Stone. That's just for Ella.
Hey, Laura.
Oh,
Hey, Jag. You make a wicked potato salad, apparently. We need the recipe, Jag.
you can tell. I actually messaged Jag back saying how you do them. Seats naked and seen from silence of the lambs. Jojo, you're nothing but poor white trash. 6 weeks away from the gutter. And you hear the screaming of the Lamborghinis every night. Don't you, Jojo? You wanted the Lincoln. You wanted the Mercedes. But you end up with the screaming Lamborghinis. I imagine Jojo would sit down to a nice Chianti.
A what?
Chianti, nice white wine.
Well, you could have just said white wine. I don't know what a Chianti is.
It's a fancy name for vino, love. I will get back to doing, actually, I love doing storytelling for my grandkids. I really do. And they all get involved, and when I'm telling a story, they help make up the story, and you know what I mean? Just good fun. But I do tell stories, and I've got several on my channel, and I don't know where they are, so it'll take you years to find them.
Okay, Jag, I'll put my
But I do like telling a good ghost story. I do like telling, you know, when you can involve some characters, like I could involve Jojo and Jag and Ella in a story, but not really say their name. Yes, it's lecturing. Of course it is.
William's starting to.
You only lectured to when you disagree with what someone's saying.
What?
I've never lectured to Berg. I've pointed out the fact that he's definitely an alcoholic because he told me. He definitely is obnoxious. He's incredibly rude and loud and a misogynist. And what part of that is a lecture? Again, that's a statement of fact. What it is, he doesn't like the fact that we know.
No, the grandkids love seed stories. One of our grandsons is actually writes some
Yeah,
wicked
he's
stories.
writing stories now. Yeah, it was
just
weird.
I just wrote another story about
Yeah.
Bob the pigeon.
Yep.
It's
He's,
really
he's evolving our story of the spooky pigeon.
It's really good. Yes,
But-
I love ghost stories.
And Caesar, got a right roll off your sweat, please, and thank you. Yeah, sure, no problem. I can tell a story.
I'm going to be the leading man. I'll be the
Sean
leading
wants to
lady.
be. He wants to be the
I know.
character, leading character.
If he's going to be, better make Nicole the leading lady then.
I suppose if you were massaging a woman up the wrong way, Jojo, that would be the same. But I do like telling ghost stories. The night of the clay chicken. Once upon a time, many years ago, across the valley lived a man. And then he came across Ella the witch and Jojo the wizard. And he cursed them. But they used their magic against that man. And what you see tonight before your very eyes is the chicken made out of clay, which is indeed Bergs the garage man. You were warned. Makiba.
So Jag Girl wants to be
Makiba.
the down and out, so yes, everyone's got their parts.
Sean. He wants to be like that cat. What's that cat in the show?
Oh,
You know the one I'm talking about,
Yeah.
like with Shrek. I think Sean wants to be that
oh
character.
no. The
Puss in Boots, that's what he wants to
yeah,
be.
It's the donkey with Shrek. The cat is Puss in Boots.
Yeah, donkey. Don't call me donkey, my name's Zia. Yeah, donkey. But no, I will do it. And something none of you will ever know is that I can actually play the guitar a bit
Okay.
better than Bergs. But you're not seeing that just yet. And I enjoy it. I actually play the guitar. I haven't done it for years, actually, because all my grandchildren used to ride my guitars like horses, which means the frets would break, the strings would snap, and they'd come back forlornly dragging it, scraping off all the varnish, and hand it to me and say, I've finished with it. Thank you. So after half a dozen guitars, I have to wait until the grandchildren are a certain age, and they're just about that now.
Oh, yeah, well, it'll never stop. We're getting another grandchild in January. The date was February, but we actually found out it's actually due in January. So you can get a guitar anytime now.
Yeah, I could, but I want to wait till the house because I'll be down the back, overlooking the pool, singing songs about Jag Girl. Jag Girl and the rain, tra la la la. Oh, there's Jag Girl and the rain, tra la 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 la. Riffing up and down, calling my cat. I'll have to call my cat Makiba now. I sing for fun. I'm not very good. I like singing for fun. And actually, when you play an instrument, it helps to sing because you play a bit better. You may not sing much better, but by singing, it gets you the rhythm and the beats and all those sort of things. But I used to love, for years and years, I would go bush fishing with my mates and all that, pull out the guitar, campfire, and it's amazing how many people have got talent. We'd have a bloke we knew for years has picked up a harmonica, and he'd never played the harmonica before, but it was just a natural. You might know people like that, but he was one of those. I'm okay. I'm certainly not going to get paid for what I sing, Ella, but the grandkids love it. And I've got one video when I'm just really mucking around, not playing the guitar properly. But I was singing with my grandson at Coles, one of the supermarkets here. They give away these cardboard guitars. You might have seen them. And so that was their ad, you know, down, down, da, 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 da. Anyway, we had a few of those that we got given to give to grandkids. And William, one of my grandsons, he just likes hanging out with me and he wanted to sing. So I don't know where that video is. It's only about a couple of minutes. But it's fun when you get a group of people together and you can hand the guitar around, no matter how good or bad you are. Because when I was a kid, there'd always be someone playing the piano. Jojo's nearly as old as me. I think he's 78. And he would remember when he was a kid that you'd hang around someone in the family playing the piano. Everyone was singing and a few drinks and good fun. 15,000 calls a day. I'm glad people call Bergs because at least he gets to talk to someone. But yeah, potato salad my wife makes in her German version, Jag. You've got one on video, haven't you?
What?
Making your potato salad on your channel.
I don't know if it's your channel or my channel, but I'm
You've
getting
got
Jagdill's recipe.
Oh, yeah?
I gave her my email, yeah.
I make a potato salad, but I do like having boiled eggs through it, little peas, tiny little bits of chilli, I mean really fine chiffonade chilli, and bit of vinegar, a bit of red onion, very, very fine. All my stuff's fine in my potato salad. The potatoes I make are about big marble size, roughly. And but oh, look, potatoes are a godsend. You can do anything with potatoes. It might be the secret that changes his life, because we know he's a C-U-N-T. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I won't use the word, of course. He's very lonely. All these characters, all of them, all the ones that you perceive, who I'm talking about, are incredibly lonely in one form or another. And their anger and their self-loathing gets spread to other people who come across them. Good morning, Awesome. I'm glad you stopped to say hi. I'm going to ask you the obvious question, and you're amongst friends. How is Tucker? If you can tell us anything. You might not be able to tell us anything. I've had two friends go through something very similar and nothing to say for about 48 hours later. So, no, okay. Mischievous, Sean, mischievous. No, I imagine there's not. Awesome. Like I say, maybe in the ICU, not knowing what's going on for quite a while. We just all hope for the best. Anyway, Awesome, while you are here, because I bored everyone else with it, we got a door today. It's going on the old cottage at the front.
Yeah, hang on a sec.
What? Just showing Awesome the door. It's got a beautiful little lead line. Oh, you got a light. Oh.
Can you see?
Oh, they can see better. Yeah, that's for sure. It is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. I know I am. Oh, you're
and
talking
it's
about the
got
door.
Brass door handles both sides. It's good. It weighs 80 kilo. Awesome, which is in pound, I don't know, 150, something like that. It's Jarrah. It's our local forest timber. But But this is quite a big inlay. You want to put your hand up there so they can see the size of the inlay? Yeah, so it's quite a large LED light, if you like. And this thing cost $50, which I thought was very reasonable.
Teakwood. No, it's not teakwood.
Yeah,
is
it would be. It was very
it?
heavy. It was. I mean, I'm a big bloke and I can lift a lot, but you know when you go to pick something up, Sean, and you think, oh, it's going to be about that heavy. I went, oh, geez. So it was a shock that I realised it wasn't a panel; it was solid timber. And that's going on the old cottage out the front, which I'll show you when I hang it. We've already got all the other doors for down the back. And that door is 1940s, 1950s. Came off a really old house where they were putting 2 doors on the front so that they reconstruct the whole front entrance of their home.
I look like a wizard. That's because my dressing gown has a hood. I have a real cape actually.
So awesome in the future when all things go well. Are you and Hot Chocolate coming to Australia? That's what she calls her husband, Hot Chocolate.
I'm just sitting there looking at it thinking, what the hell's he talking about?
Might just be my one, Sean.
Oh, Sean. Yeah, get a room.
You'll lose him on the Gold Coast. What, you reckon the girls will grab him? Is that what you're saying? Actually, we're trying to encourage Jag to make a video
Yeah.
of a... Jag, could I ask you to make a video?
Of your potato salad?
You heard they love Americans. When you get it, awesome, just tell them you're Canadian. You were safe then.
No, they love Canadians as well.
Yeah. But, yeah. Jag, make us a video of your potato salad. Yeah, it's one of those strange things, awesome. There is resentment to some Americans, the loud ones. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has differentiation, like different people of the same country are good and bad.
I don't think I want to know what Ella and JJ are talking about. Do they maybe need to get a room?
Or a dentist. Or peroxide, yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could go overseas. He's restricted at the moment. But, yeah, things will change.
No, Seeds owns everyone now. It wasn't in Seeds videos, it's in one of mine.
What's that?
Where you said you've urinated here and you urinated.
Yes.
And you now own you now own the UK.
Yeah, like a big dog going around a park. That's my tree. That's my tree. That's my tree.
He urinated in every country.
Well, I mean, you would know what I'm going to say next. It's just the nature of some Americans. They're incredibly loud.
See you, JJ. Yes, so it's
See you,
some
JJ.
Aussies.
You can have like 100 people around a pool in a resort somewhere, and then there's a really loud American.
Or-
Usually it's a bloke.
Or an Aussie.
Well,
Or
yeah.
an English. But yeah, Aussies can be really loud.
I do know most of the places we go, a lot of countries do not like Americans. And I'm not saying this to say Australians are better than Americans, but when they find out we're Australian, we get beer at half price.
Oh, that happened in Vietnam, but that's a different story.
And Bali, they don't like them in Bali. It's very racist of some Asian countries that are really heavily anti-American. There's no question about it.
So awesome. What are you doing today? You doing more bingo?
Is that 4-number bingo or three question quiz?
Stop it. I really enjoyed that bingo. You just
Oh, no, I thought it was funny. I really did.
you couldn't
Because it
work
drifted off on humour all the time.
You couldn't work it out because you couldn't get your bingo cards, but I found them.
I pulled it up on the computer, it just went blank all the time. You know, the funniest people, and Sean's here, he'll agree with me, trust me. Englishmen overseas, foreign country. This is what happens first thing in the morning when they go down to the desk. They say to the lady, really loudly, they say, "Where's the breakfast? And I want bacon and eggs." And normally, most people in restaurants and hotels will say, "Good morning, sir," in English. It's through the next door. Like, you don't have, Englishmen for some reason think if they yell louder, the foreigner will actually understand what they're saying. And I'm sure Sean will back me up. They do it all the time.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Awesome. Yeah, but poor Sean and I, in that one card, I couldn't type quick enough. I was going to say, "Sean, back off, it's mine." Sean
Yeah.
was one number off for ages.
Where's that? There was some Aussies walking in the street in, where was that? That wasn't Stuttgart, that was the other place we stayed in Germany.
Frankfurt.
Yeah. We're walking down to the foreshore, beautiful foreshore, and a river, Rhine, going through the city. And in front of us, there was two ladies and two men, and they were Aussies. And they're going on, and we were walking up behind them. I'm sure the missus knew what I was going to do.
Oh, they were raving on how bad their hotel was.
Yeah, but first of all, I said, "Good morning. Are you Australian?" And they went, "Yeah, mate. I'm from Sydney, and this guy's from Perth." I said, "Oh, wunderbar. That is good. Enjoying Germany?" And they were going, "Yeah." And just as I was walking away, I said, "Yeah, see you later, mate. Have a good day." And I looked back at me and said, "You bastard."
Yeah, but your accent started to turn a bit Russian.
Yeah. Suddenly my German turned a little bit,
Russian.
yeah. But it was funny. They were trying to, like, thinking this German guy was talking to them and being nice, and then as they were turning away, they turned and said, "Yeah, you bastard."
Yeah, Awesome. Bit of trivia with the bingo would be good. But I really enjoyed that bingo. It was fun. And I got so excited once I worked out. You just never-
Apparently you won a trip for two to the United States, is that right? Was that one of the major prizes given away? You can actually fly to New York from Perth for about 1,300 Australian dollars, which is about 900 US, and that's return.
Is it?
You have got your knees up near your face, though, in
Yeah.
economy.
A cattle class.
You can do it that cheap. See, you ring doorbells and run, don't you?
Yeah, he does.
No, I've
Yeah.
never done that. It's an idea, though. How are they going to take an old bloke to court? "Oh, I didn't do it, Your Honour. Look at me." Yeah, so I've sort of convinced the wife we're not going to America in October.
Yeah, 'cause
So
it's
it'll
too
be
cold.
next year as the winter breaks.
I can't handle the cold.
And I've got nothing against the people on the West Coast. Sean's on the West Coast. I'd probably definitely visit him. But there's nothing that interests me on the
What's
West Coast of America.
What's on the West Coast?
San Francisco, all the way up to Seattle.
But I'd like to go there.
What, Seattle?
Yeah.
Or go garage hunting?
Yeah.
Hello, Bergs.
No, I don't want to go see him.
No, like I say, if you're talking about the West Coast having sunshine and beaches,
What else is on
I'm
the
from
West-
Australia.
What else is on the West Coast?
Well, there's big cities, but literally it doesn't interest me. The East Coast, Northern America, and Canada interest me.
Down south.
Florida doesn't interest me. Beaches and sand. Why would you go there? We've got more beach and sand than we could poke a stick
Oh,
at.
there's a few things I'd like to look at. Where's Cooper?
Yeah, I mean, where Awesome is.
And Awesome. Go
yeah.
see Awesome and Cooper.
Yeah, we could pop in there. Because the flights internally in America are not too expensive, are they, Sean? I'm thinking if you're only going to travel a few hundred miles, it'd be like a couple $100, I'm guessing, or even cheaper. So we could hop our way around the US that way. But like I say, we've got family up in Pennsylvania, some good friends in Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia.
Well, yeah, that's where niece is. Really? Well, I've looked on a few. They've got that Blue airline, and Delta, I think, and American Airlines. But I know, like, to give you an idea, we've already looked at the Canada. We might do a little hop with the plane around Canada, like from
Northern.
Quebec, Ottawa, Montreal, all that area, and they're only like $150 each.
Does anyone remember the TV show Northern Exposure? That's a town. I think it's. I think
Oh yeah, no, Sean, we do that anyway. Yeah, we organised our trip to the UK and got what we thought were pretty good prices for
Yeah.
business class.
Northern Exposure.
10 months before we left.
I used to love that show. That was filmed in Canada or the Alaska.
No, that was in Canada, I think. Northern Exposure.
That's the name of the show.
Oh, maybe it was the
And
Alaska
it's
one.
An actual town somewhere.
Yeah. But like I say, for me, I always love history and architecture. So there's certain places in the US I would go for that for sure. But there's a lot in Canada that I would look for. Quebec I'm looking forward to. I've got
Yes, I
a
think
really good friend in Canada who will probably insist on showing me around a lot, and the wife.
It could be a long.
And he's a
stay
French
in the
Canadian.
US. We might have to do 2 trips to the US.
Before?
Well, there's so many places I want to go.
See, if I was going to drive in the US, the wife will only stay in a hotel. So it'll be a case of I would buy a car if we're spending 3 or 4 months, and then drive to a hotel.
Yeah, you hear the ghost train up there. Ooh, toot toot.
I'm not buying a B-class van going around America.
You're not going to drive in America. They drive on the wrong side of the road.
That's
I'll
all
be
right.
forever sitting there.
They'll
And
move.
I'll be a nervous wreck.
A lot of places we don't have to drive because we've got family and friends, so
No,
there's no need.
we'll just hire Sean or someone. They can drive us round.
Well, I'm sure Sean will drive across the west coast to pick us up in New York. He'll just say, what time at JFK? I'll be there. I don't think so. No, I don't. Look, I mean, my idea of going for a recreational drive is literally, I would do this. Just drive down to a beach somewhere, take what we call a swag in Australia. It's a canvas roll-up bag, which you can get inside and keeps the mozzies off, and it's got like 2 or 3 inches of foam and next to the fire. I've done it with just a blanket. The wife will not do that. She'll say, yep, you do that. Pick me up in the morning from the 5-star Hilton. So we don't do that.
I do glamping.
I suppose it's probably more fearful for Americans to drive on the left.
Yeah. I know where she's coming from, Sean. I'll be a nervous wreck if Seeds drove in America.
I'd be fine. I'd just buy a nice big sedan. Like I say, the point is though, like some of the distances that we'll be going, it's just like Australia. Yeah, we drove from Sydney to Perth, and we went down south to Victoria, 5,000 kilometres.
So it doesn't phase Sean, so he can come and get us.
Do you know how far away JFK is from Sean? Any idea?
No.
But you don't really need, I'll be honest with you, I mean, we do this a lot. We'll go to a different country and there's Uber in most countries. It's not in the UK and it's certainly not in Germany. But in most of the world you can get Uber. And like here now, if I called an Uber on my phone, it'll be here in 5 minutes. Take us to the airport, which is about 15 minutes away, and it's about $15. So when you get transportation that's cheap. Hiring a car is about $60 a day, or the one I would hire would be about $60 a day. So that's 4 drives in an Uber, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because it depends what and where we're doing. Why can't we get a bus or a train? That gives you a different perspective
Yeah.
on looking at the countryside as you.
We love train
Going somewhere, yeah.
journeys. We do really enjoy going on a train, especially if it's got like first class service, beer, food.
And not get on the wrong train,
Yeah.
like we did in Frankfurt,
Mm.
and then have to pay extra.
But if you're going to Europe and you were staying there a period of time, and Sean knows what I'm talking about, if you're 2,834 miles from him to JFK.
Oh, is it, Sean? Oh,
Yeah.
that's nothing.
Really? But
Okay.
you get what they call a Euro pass in Europe. At the moment, you do. Maybe when Brexit kicks in, you won't be doing that in the UK. But you can get a Euro pass for X amount a week, X amount a month. I'm pretty sure there's even yearly plans for locals, but it's not that expensive. But everywhere we've gone, taking public transport is pretty cheap. Here, it's incredibly cheap. To get on a bus from just outside the front of our place to the middle of Perth is 15, 20 minutes.
It's 20 minutes.
20 minutes
about
and it's like-
$4.
No, it's less than $4.
No, it is. It's 4.
But that's cheap. I mean, running the car into the city, parking and paying parking, you'd be looking at $25, $30 for half a day. That's if we go into the city, we spend half a day there.
Well, we'll have to start soon and organise. The US trip's going to be different to what we just did.
Mm.
Because there's so many places. I wanna
We're
go
actually,
to.
because we're catching up with family and friends that we've known for years and years and years, and in Canada as well as the US, it's more than likely we'll be staying 5 or 6 days here, 5 or 6 days there with these people. There's no need to get a car.
Yeah,
We're there to
exactly.
be with them,
That's right.
go out to dinner, all that sort of thing. I've heard us, I paid 35 GP for an hour in London.
What do you mean in it?
Yeah,
What-
parking. I mean,
yeah.
like I said, when I used to live just outside of Sydney and drive into Sydney and back, it's nearly $100, Sean. That's just the tolls, not the parking. 15-minute parking Sydney Airport, $20. Half an hour you get for 30, which is pretty cheap when you think about it. It's horrendous. It would cost, like when our kids would come over, we'd drive them back out and see them off and wave to them. By the time we get home, we'd spend $130.
It's easy to get the train when you're in Sydney.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Or a Uber.
See, the underground in the UK is, I've always thought it was good, even when I was a kid. It was different, but the tube's got great advantages. It's not that expensive.
Oh, I'm okay now. The last day we find the elevator. Previous to that, those damn escalators
Yeah, you hated them, didn't you?
that were like a bloody 100-foot mountain going down.
Just buy an Oyster card and whack some money on it and last you for days. I think we put 2 times, because we're in the UK for nearly a month, because we weren't in London all that lot, probably 2 weeks all up, we probably spent 30 quid between us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of places we just walked. We don't mind walking. First day in London, we walked all the way around Tower Hill, which included everything you can imagine, the Thames and up the old Main Street, the High Street, down certain bits, looking at old buildings and churches. And before we know it, we would walk 15 mile. But we were looking at things and enjoying it, stopping for a coffee. That's a great thing to do, guys, too. Like when you get to a different country and you're not sure about how the city ticks and what makes it spin, is just pull up to a few coffee places every now and then and just look at the world go by. You learn so much. But I do encourage all of you to come to Australia. Forget about the stories of getting eaten by sharks, crocs, snakes, spiders. Don't worry about that. See them bloody chickens you gotta look out for. They look very docile, don't they?
The what?
Chickens, clay chickens.
Oh.
But no, there's nothing to fear. And when I get to know a lot of you a lot more, you'd be more than welcome to come and stay here.
What do you mean there's nothing to fear? There's heaps to fear in Australia.
What?
It's just we're used to it. Our wildlife, our insects.
Well, I suppose it's akin like if
Our
I took you to
reptiles.
South Africa and I got to show you some of the big rhino and the big lions, you'd be like shaking yourself.
What
You-
accent is that?
You'd end up talking like African like me. But no, you would. If I took you to South Africa, you'd be saying, geez, look at those rhinos. They're dangerous. I've seen, people in the zoo pat rhinos on the head like a big puppy dog.
I want to see a real moose close up. I want to see a real bear close up.
You'll see a bear close up.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take you in the middle of nowhere, cover you in blood,
No, we'll just take
and
it.
rattle, what's that? You rattle the horn against the tree for the elk and the moose to come and get you. Maybe elbow park his van in your
No.
yard. Yeah, sure you can.
Did I hesitate?
I might not give him the correct address.
Did I hesitate with that no, Laura? No, I didn't. No.
Right. So, working for a company, Terry?
Navy.
A lot
Right,
of
when you got out of the
US
Navy.
servicemen, after they've finished in the US, do come to Australia and they join the service again because they then start over a new pension plan. They carry and keep their American one, and it works vice versa, and they're recognised for their service. They usually go through a ranking process, like if you were a lieutenant in the Navy. Well, it might take you only 6 months to get to that status from baggy ass because they recognise prior skills. Very common though, people that retire from one force in a different country, if there's a system that allows it, they can move to another country and they keep their full pension from when they've retired. In Australia, you've only got to be in the armed services in any division for 20 years and you retire on full pension. I don't think it'd be any different in the US. I could be wrong, but the deadly animals, what, pussycats. Yes, they do. We've got a big centre just south of Perth called Rockingham. And even way back 30 years ago, it was full of Poms. They were all there. And they retired there. For them, Rockingham was like the Caribbean. White beaches, a lot of people started businesses. So when these Englishmen came to Rockingham, there was a guy in a pub who was English. There was a guy in a baker who was English. So they felt like they'd moved into a little village. So that's what it became. Rockingham became like a village of the damned. No, just English people flocked to go there. But it's. I suppose if you're uncertain about the environment, you should be cautious. There's no question about that. But there are no safety issues. Literally, if you come to any of our cities or major towns, you're not going to get eaten, attacked. But the barmaids might get you. But other than that, you should be pretty good. It's, you know, we actually have masses of tourists from Europe, China, Japan, Southeast Asia, mainly because it's very cheap for them to fly here. You come, like I said, I can fly from Perth to New York for about 1,300 Australian dollars, which is probably $8.50 US, and I'm pretty sure Jag Girl could fly where she is to the US for about 900 return Australian, or about 600 US. But I've got friends in the US that have said there's no way they get them prices. I don't know why that's the case. I had a friend in Texas, he worked out it was going to cost him economy, this is years ago, $4,500 US to fly from Texas to Australia and back. And I'm thinking, well, at the time I could do it for about 600. How does that work in America? Why you charge so much? Oh, I can see what it is. They don't want you to leave. My kids have a lot of them went to Bali, to a nice resort where they had their own villa, pool, cooks, you name it, everything was done for them. And they flew there and back, what did Mark say, 160 each
For what?
for the flights.
For which flights? I wasn't listening.
To
sorry.
Bali, when the kids went to Bali, 160 each.
Yeah,
It was return.
something like that.
Because it's only 3 hours away from us, Bali.
Yeah.
So the villa, I think, might have cost them $1,000 for the week.
Oh,
But
it was beautiful though.
Yeah.
They had a nice place. It was really nice.
and the last thing you want to do when you go to another country is think, oh, look for the cheapest accommodation. Don't do that. Don't do that. Get yourself, if you're going to go on holiday, spoil yourself. Get
Yeah.
nice rooms.
Well, it doesn't matter how much you look into it. You can end up getting a crap room, and then all of a sudden, next time it's a nice room. The pictures don't show
Oh.
what you actually get.
Yeah, I mean, we stayed over 6 weeks in Europe, and we probably had one room that wasn't that good.
No, there was a couple of rooms not good. A couple
But
were on the tour.
Most
they
of them were magnificent, let's be honest.
I mean, the bathroom was bigger than the damn bedroom, and you had to put your suitcases in the bathroom because there was no room in the bedroom part.
But I mean, overall, we
Yeah.
got pretty good accommodation. Some beautiful places we went.
But yeah, the experience was good. Yeah.
I'll tell you what was funny, and Americans don't see a lot of sheep. and there would have been good 10 Americans on board the tour.
Yeah.
And every time we came across sheep, they're going, "Oh, look at them."
Yeah, but towards the end it was like more sheep because
Yeah, but it was like, they're sheep. See, one thing I noticed, and I said to a couple of guys, I said, there's one thing that's missing in Europe that you don't get, that we get all the time. Like, I swear to you, if you drove anywhere in Australia, you just see dead kangaroos everywhere. They're dead. They've been hit by vehicles, trucks. They're everywhere. And there's wombats, and there's a dead camel and dead pigs. They're all on the road. In Europe, nothing. Clean roads. No roadkill. I'm sure there is the occasional badger or bird, but in my country, every half mile, there's something dead. We get brown snakes here. In my state, we've got 7 of the most deadly snakes in the world, but I've never been bitten by one.
Yeah, where are you?
There are 9 of the 10 most deadly snakes in Australia, and we've got 7 of them.
Yeah, where I grew up, brown snakes and black snakes were common on our property.
We have brown snakes, dugites, tiger snakes. We have adders. We have bandy. We got heaps.
Yeah, Mum nearly trod on a few black snakes and brown snakes. Dad would get the shovel out.
When I was a kid, I used to play with snakes, pick them up and toss them around and flick them around. Till one guy said to me, "All those snakes will kill you." I went,
Actually,
"What?"
We ring people to come and get our snakes. We're not actually allowed to kill snakes in Australia.
We don't want to kill them.
No.
The biggest snake you'll get in the suburbs is there's a king brown and dugites. And the king brown can get to, hence the name king, about 10 feet long. And then snakes are not aggressive. I know that seems very hard to believe, but they don't want to be anywhere near you. So if you've got a snake in your backyard, just stay inside the house.
So May next year, awesome.
More than likely.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll be popping in so your son can cook me a meal. But you got quite a few snakes in the US, but lots of them are harmless. Yeah, I've seen
Snake
when
was after the bunny.
I worked for, when I was about 20, I worked for the Water Resource Department in Western Australia, which does all the checks of the river flows, how much water's coming down. So you did all different jobs. But we had to lift up some dead wood over what was a weir. We had to fix up a weir in a river. And we're lifting these logs up, and I lifted 3 or 4, and a mate of mine said, "Come and look at this." And in a little hollow in the rocks near the edge of the water, probably looked like the depth of half a grave. All right, it was about 3 foot deep, about 10 feet long. There was about, and we could only estimate, there was about 30 snakes all wound around each other, just lying very quietly. This is winter, just sitting there. And that was eerie. You ever seen the movie, what's that one, Temple of Doom, with Harrison in it, all the snakes? Bit like that. But they were all dugites. But they do that in winter. They do that for a reason, to keep warm. That's why they're under the log.
I've seen quite a few red belly black snakes, jag.
And the reason they're near water, during winter the ground is colder than the water is, so they've got that sort of insulative, but they do go into hibernation, there's no question. And they were all pretty fat, so they'd filled up before they went into hibernation. Looked like, best way to describe it, you ever seen a really big rope off a ship, how it's all interwoven, like, about 8-10 inches across? Well, imagine about 10 of them. That's what these snakes look like. But it was interesting. One of the guys got a photo, but I never got a photo of him. But they weren't slithering around and threatening anything. They hardly any movement, and they were just pissed off because the light was on them. Yep, I think we will do. I think we should off to bed. We bore these people enough as it is. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great day. I do wish, and I hope all your thoughts are with our dear friend Tucker. We can't do anything, but we can hope that all goes well.
Yes, we can pray.
You can pray if you wish to do so. Send your good thoughts.
The power of collective thought and prayers is very powerful.
Yep, and I
The
think,
thought.
yep, I agree that just the thought alone
The thought
is a good thing, because you're wishing the best, and it's a mighty operation that he's undergoing. It's not getting a tooth pulled. It's incredibly precarious, and we all hope that the outcome is successful. We all do.
the thought is as good as the deed.
Yep. All right, guys, have a great day or
Good
night
hug.
in Jag's case.
And I love yous all.
I'm
Say
sta-
it, come on, say
I'm
it.
starting to like him. All right, let's not push it.
I love everybody. Well, maybe one